entitled Modeling of Water Erosion, its Hydrological and Geochemical Impacts. That it was prolonged for 6 days, and I'm the last presenter of this virtual seminar. And the main topic of the work, as it has been seen here, it was the modeling of water erosion, its hydrological and geochemical impacts. And I'm going to talk about the necessity of the watershed health assessment in hydrology. And it might be a little bit different from those which have been already presented by my colleagues. I am representing Hydrology Model University from Iran, and also I'm honor president of Watershed Management Society of Iran, and also vice president of World Association of Soil and Water Conservation. And also presently I'm working at Hydrology Model University. I am affiliated to Hydrology Model University as a professor. I am working at the and also I'm the editor-in-chief of Eco Persia, that is one of the ISC ranked journals. And then you can get, in fact, detailed introduction of mine in the, in fact, links that I have provided you. I am really so thankful for giving me the opportunity to be grateful, because I believe that every experience is an opportunity to learn and grow. And I am also here among you people to present some of my experiences in this field, and but mutually I would like to get some experiences from you and some nice feedback from you to get benefits. And also I am really grateful to be among my close friends, in fact, Michael Marker and also Paolo Porto and those other friends, Iwan and Anatoly, that I talked to him right now, and Andre, and also Zheng Zheng, who are new to me, but I'm really very glad to become familiar with these scientists as well. Okay, my presentation consists of 5 main syllabi. That it is started by introduction, and then I talk about concept of watershed health, and then health and sustainability assessment models will be discussed, and then customization of health criteria overlooking hydrology aspects will be taught also, and then finally I try to draw. Here you will see that we have a land and we have a globe that it is imposed by many different factors that you can see here. It's started by overgrazing, climate change, land change, industrial development, and also dam construction, decreased biodiversity and population growth. That it made our land sick. And now our land and our earth is not healthy, and it is really sick. And you can see the schematic figure that I provided you, that it really suffers many different impact systems and also syndromes, that in fact the systems of these seen in this in fact slide that you will see here, almost in 10,000 years ago, we have almost 57% forest and 42% wild grassland swamps, but these two important ecosystems have been really diminished by these years, and that for example, in 2018, we had just 38% forest and 31% of grazing land, and most of the, in fact, terrestrial lands have been converted to either cropland, that it is almost 15%, and also 14%. So this type of conversion and these type of changes and land degradation, in fact, cause many different, in fact, consequences that can be pictured in this slide. You will see that even many different, in fact, coverage of the land has greatly changed. Here you will see that, for example, wetland area has really got high levels of diminishing, and here again you will see that free-flowing rivers as one of the most important symptoms of hydrological behavior of the watershed has got high level of, in fact, changes And here again, you will see other different types of species also has got influenced by different types of land degradation. Here again, you will see that the wetlands and also wastewater, in fact, discharge, untreated discharges one to the river have been greatly increased. That it shows that we really need to think about very, in fact, appropriate solution based on which we would be able to strain our system and also restore our ecosystem. That the answer is in watershed management, and that it can be defined as the integrated and in the sustainability of the resources through the balanced use of and conservation of water and other natural resources within the watershed. Because we are looking for a good watershed. Because when we have a good watershed, ultimately we get also human environmental health improvement, and also when we receive a watershed health, then that it is really a broad term that includes water resources, ecological quality, that it includes vegetation, plant, and animal communities, geomorphological features, rainfall runoff process, and morphological features. So here, simply, we can see there is a very tight relationship between watershed health and different aspects of the ecosystem. In fact, at top priority, we can discuss about water resources that it is studied under hydrology, and also assessment of the watershed health and associated ecological security is crucial these days for the proper land resources management, notably when sufficient money and time have lacked. It is very important to know what we have to do for the watershed, particularly those parts which is really getting much more influences from different types of land degradation agents. Here you will see that our Earth system consists of four important sectors, that it is natural resources, ecosystem, goods, and services. Please do remember this part. Beneficiaries, different types of beneficiaries, including people, households, and different types of stakeholders and even authorities. And also the third part is environmental, natural resources, and biodiversity conservation and management. And the fourth one is natural capital ecosystem structure, process, and function. You can simply see in all these, in fact, main subjects that I have discussed about, for example, in the case of ecosystem goods and services, you may have different types of services like provisioning, regulating, and cultural. And also in the case of beneficiaries, we can talk about regional and also global beneficiaries. And when we talk about the managerial approaches, we have to talk about policies, regulation, and stewardship. And also, when we talk about capital, that means natural capital. So we discuss about land cover, biophysical properties, biodiversity, subsoil resources, and atmosphere. You can simply see here, none of which these, in fact, elements can be worked without water and without, in fact, hydrologic aspects. So here you will see, if you would like to have a watershed, if you would like to have a healthy watershed, so we have to think about hydrological aspects properly. But how they are interlinked, then I will discuss later. So here, again, I'm discussing about different important services that we expect from our land, regulating, supporting, provisioning, and cultural, each of which is totally dependent on hydrologic aspects of different elements, and particularly what I have to tell you one thing more here, that these days, the impact hydrology aspect has gone beyond water quality and quantity. These days, we are thinking about different types of services which can be provided by the water. And even we can see that these days, we have many different issues dealing with hydrologic aspects that they have already been ignored in last. So we have to think about different aspects of hydrology. But this figure and this slide, that this is really one of the most important slides that I'm going to discuss, you will see that we have many different components in a system or in a watershed system, including discharge, withdrawals, and also you can see here geophysical factors and land cover, land use, hydrology, climate, disturbance, and stresses. You will see that some of these factors modify the watershed integrity. Some of these factors determine the baseline for the watershed integrity, and some of them also disrupt or even degrade the watershed integrity. So what happens when these factors drive some forces to the watershed system? So the surplus of the system will be influenced, and when the supplies is getting influenced, so the ecosystem goods and services are influenced. So then these services may simply affect economic benefits, social benefits, and health benefits. So it finally and virtually leads to watershed sustainability. So you can simply see in this slide that the watershed integrity is started by many different factors, among which the hydrologic elements and hydrologic components are the important ones that we have to properly consider them while we are going to think about watershed integrity. And then you will see that the watershed integrity itself has directly and indirectly impacted on the watershed health and sustainability. So it shows simply that these two factors and these two sets of factors are totally different on each other. And then finally, when we talk about watershed health, so it means we are looking for a watershed which supports lots of different kinds of life, that it is really a healthy watershed. But when the watershed supports very little life and very little services, so it is unhealthy one. So here again, I try to reemphasize that when we talk about watershed itself consists of many different compartments of society, a desert ecosystem, rangeland ecosystem, forest ecosystem, and marine ecosystem. But these ecosystems are totally interrelated, and in most of the cases, the water and the hydrologic aspects are in fact playing as good mediators between these ecosystems. So when we are going to talk about watershed health, so we have to see how hydrologic aspects are interconnected in different sub-ecosystems of a watershed. So here I'm getting a little bit shifted to some new concepts about uncertainty. We know that when we talk about watershed system or different types of ecosystems, we are facing lots of uncertainties, that they are mainly originated from, partial observability, partial controllability, and even structural happen when we are facing such type of such level of uncertainty. So this making it getting very, very difficult. So how we have to deal with this complexity? So naturally, we have to select a framework for the management that it is totally flexible and totally adaptive to uncertainty, that it is the adaptive management. So when we talk about adaptive management, so we have to consider all different aspects of the healthy watershed. When we talk about healthy watershed, it in fact goes to good services that it is provided by good vegetation cover, and also good water quality, and also appropriate connectivity, that it is appropriate interconnectivity that I will discuss about while I'm talking about waterfall modeling approach in this regard as well. So here you can see simply one factor we are dealing with, in fact, dealing with is directly or indirectly connected to hydrology aspect. Water quality and quantity is directly connected to water and to the hydrology aspect. And even vegetation cover is related to, in fact, rainfall runoff relationship and how much of water is stored in different types of blue, green, and also other types of water in the ecosystem. And also when we talk about connectivity, it shows that how different aspects of hydrology, in fact, compartments are dealing with each other in an ecosystem, or that it is really a watershed. So here, see, when we talk about adaptive management, we have to at least consider 4 important stages of planning, doing, monitoring, and learning, that it is resulted from evaluation. So when we talk about adaptive management, we are talking about how to manage and also how to manage the system and also manage how to learn. So it is in fact a mutual relationship, and it is always getting promotion to higher level of the management. So these 4 stages have to be considered. Why? Because we are facing in fact a degraded land or degraded earth these days, which causes insecurity in different levels. So insecurity is coming, and what we are looking for, in fact, we are trying to get back to balanced situation. And how it can be achieved just through management. But what type of management? As I told you, adaptive management. But as you saw in this figure here, you can see that the monitoring is one of the most important steps and stages in adaptive management. But the question is that what has to be monitored? What has to be monitored? And this is the important goal that has to be used to find out the main governing problems on the watershed, based on which we would be able to find out on which level of health and sustainability of our watershed is. Understanding. For this purpose, we may use many different approaches to find out the problem, governing problem in the watershed. One of them is fishbone diagram, that it is being used to categorize problems into many categories of important and, in fact, non-important factors, but they are totally considered altogether. So when we understood and when we then see the proper adaptive management can be conducted, because we would be able to assess the watershed performance in terms of the output, type, and amount. Hereby, you can simply see that one of the most important outputs of a watershed is water. Not only the quantity of water, but also the quality of water are these 2 important factors that they have to be collaboratively considered. And then we would be able to expect what type of services can we get. And thirdly, the analysis of cause and effect relationship can be conducted as well. So if we do these 3 important steps, which have been based on the proper diagnosis of the problem, then the performance of the watershed health criteria can be assessed. That means we would be able to find out what factor and up to which level can affect the output of the system and output of the watershed. and also separation of the effect of various factors, criteria, and variables also achievable. And these are the things that a manager really needs to properly manage its system. And finally, determining optimal strategies to solve the problem. So at the beginning, we diagnose our problem properly, and the strategy to solve the problem has also been designated in right way, so the problem will be automatically solved. But here, see, this is the linkage between, in fact, watershed health and hydrology that I already discussed as well. Here you will see a framework that is called Watershed Health Assessment Framework, and it is in fact briefly called as WHAF. Here you will see in WHAF, we mainly consider 5 important criteria of hydrology, water quality, geomorphology, biology, and connectivity, that they can be categorized into 3 main categories of hydrology, anthropogenic, and climatic. So here you will see that the hydrology plays a very important role to assess the watershed health. So in this case, we have a hydrologic-based watershed health assessment. If we would be able to develop the conceptual model of these interlinkage, then we would be able to find out appropriate index, and that in some cases we can designate composite indicators that it consists of many indicators, variables for which even some data can be provided. So if we would be able to develop such a managerial approach, then we would be able to provide a headlamp, because in this case we know what are the driving forces, what are pressures, what are states, what are exposures, what are effects, and also what are actions. That it is shown as acronym of DPSEEA, that it is a part of headlamp, that it is also standing for health and environmental analysis for decision making. So it shows if you would like to properly make a decision for an ecosystem and for a watershed, so we have to have proper health and environmental analysis. That it plays and it rules as a headlamp that the miners they use to excavate the mine and to gain valuable commodities. So we have to be able to provide a headlamp for our watershed managers, for which we need to define different aspects of driving force, pressure. These are indices, states, exposure, and effect, under each of which we can have some criteria that the combination of these different elements leads to DPSEEA framework that it finally results in action plans. What does the action plan? Action plan means with respect to the importance of each index, we would be able to select appropriate managerial approaches that are management or environmental improvements, protective and corrective one. So without it, we would not be able to properly manage our system and our ecosystem. In other words, we have to also follow up the Watershed model that it consists of four important specifications, including controllability of different sectors. So we have to know the different sectors of the watershed aspects. In which hydrology is one of the most important ones. Punctuality. So it shows there is some discipline in it. Interrelationship, that it shows again these factors are totally interrelated, and also there is the kingdom. And here you will see that I have tried to show you the butterfly model, which is in fact a symbol of butterfly, and also I have shown you here that in butterfly model, in the left side we have scientific perception. That it is based on visual information and auditive information. But in the right side we have reaction. That is the feedback of, and even the decisions that we make, that it leads to motion and also performance. But these two aspects and these two wings have to be connected to each other using cognition. That the cognition is making personality traits, motivation, and fitness for duty. So see how watershed health assessment may lead to proper decision making. And here there is a belief that we all live in a watershed. So we have to know how the health of our watershed, where we are living in. So what the watershed health and the health index is a criterion to show how far the system is from the climax conditions. So when we talk about watershed health, we know that how far the present situation from the one which has to be, and what we have to be supposed as a climax situation. So in many cases, you would like to know, if you know that how hydrology aspects affects on hydrology affects on watershed health, then we would be able to manage it, to control it, to handle it. And here the watershed is a dynamic and complicated system working in an integrated style. So this is the one that has to be again considered for when we are going to assess watershed health. So when we talk about watershed health, and we represented it as watershed health index, WHI, we would like to know the answers of three main inquiries. The first one is, what are the main drivers of ecological change and how do they work? I would like to ask the audience that how much do we know about the effect of hydrologic factors on watershed health? We have no idea about. We just just develop some impact projects, but we really do not know, and we will not be able to partition the effects of hydrology aspects, even in comparison with other factors, in comparison to anthropogenic factors, in comparison with climatic factors, and so on. So the first inquiry is that what are the main drivers of ecological change? Why our ecosystem has got changed? Why our watershed is unhealthy? What are the main driving forces behind? And how much these driving forces are important? The second question is, how is the sustainability of ecosystem achieved for the continuous provision of ecosystem services? This is the main topic that I discuss about ecosystem service and watershed service, that we are responsible to facilitate better provision of different type of services by the watershed. And the third inquiry is what are the flexibility strategies for ecosystem responding to external stresses? But we do not know what are the affecting factors and determinant factors on watershed health and how watershed services get influence from different driving forces. So how we can manage it and how manageable it is. So this is the main important managerial priorities matrix that it is mainly developed based on watershed health status. So here you will see that we have considered two important criteria of vulnerability and watershed health. So here, simply, you can see when the vulnerability is low, but the watershed health is high, the protect decisions are made. But when the vulnerability is high and also watershed health is high, so protection priority is well enough. But when vulnerability is high, watershed health is low, we have to go for restoration. And when vulnerability is low and also watershed health is low, so we have obligatory go to restoration priority. So there is no way we have to abruptly move towards. So here, I would like to just give you some idea about, in fact, based on the syllabi that I provided you, about the methods of, in fact, ecosystem health assessment and watershed health assessment, that there are some main categories. The first one is holistic approach, under which we can discuss about thermodynamic analysis and network analysis that I'm not going to go to them into detail because it takes lots of time. Multimetric approach is the second one, and predictive model approach is the third one, and the last one is method for human coupled ecosystem. See, here again, there is another important method that we have to use those techniques that the human activities and anthropogenic activities and anthropogenic interferences in the ecosystem have to be properly integrated. And here, we may have many different criteria for indicator selection, that these are main principles that I have briefly provided them into some items. The first one is assess integrated ecosystem health. So it shows that the ecosystem health has to be integratedly assessed. The second one, describe the degradation of an ecosystem. Sometimes we really do not know the level of the degradation in a watershed. We just have some time estimation and guess. We have to study the standards of the unhealthy situation of the watershed, and we have to reflect the function and structure of an ecosystem. So we have to know what are the main functions and structure of the ecosystem under consideration. The fourth one is represent sustainability of human coupled ecosystems that I already discussed about. And the fifth one is present the goal of natural resources and ecosystem management. What we are looking for and what we are in fact targeting. We should know that we have to select our indicator for, in fact, ecosystem health assessment in such a way to know that how much ability do we get access to resolve other problems and issues that we have already diagnosed. In this aspect, some criteria have to be considered while we define the key indicators. They have to be sensitive to stresses. I would like to ask the respected audiences that what sensitive factors can we count in the field of hydrology to be sensitive to different stresses. So it is totally problem problem-oriented one, so we have to select it appropriately. The second one has to be simple and easy to apply. It has to be also, or they have to be a strong scientific basis. They have to be possible to quantify, and they have to be able to have anticipatory ability, and also they have to target the goal of the management. So here I would like to discuss about three important health assessment models that they are mainly being used to assess the watershed health. And I try to place the appropriate position of the hydrology aspect in each of these models. The first one is vulnerability, organization, resilience, or that it is briefly called VOR. That it has been developed by Costanza and Mago in 1999. Another one is pressure response, that it is very well known and common, that it is called simply as PSR, and it has been developed initially by OECD in 1992, and also reliability, resilience, and vulnerability, that it is also called as RRB, that it has been initially developed for impact management ecosystem by Hashimoto in 1982. You can see that all these three models are totally conceptual one. They are part of index-based methods. They are mainly cause and effect approach-based model, and also they are being used for ecosystem related to human activities. Exactly, they have those main specifications that we were expecting for a watershed health assessment model to have. Here at the beginning, I would like to talk about RRB model, that I say to you that it is reliability, resilience, and vulnerability. Here in this model, we certainly need a threshold. So when we talk about threshold, in fact, beyond which failures occur, and in fact, below that, the satisfactory stages and status occur, so we have to have a threshold. For each hydrologic variable, we would have an appropriate threshold to properly use for watershed health assessment. Here you will see the reliability is considered by the probability that the watershed is in a satisfactory state. So the threshold determines it. And the resilience is also supported as a measure indicating how quickly the system can return to a satisfactory state after it has fallen below the satisfactory threshold. And the vulnerability also is taken into account as a measure of severity of a failure event once it has occurred. So there are three equations to calculate reliability, resilience, and vulnerability. That I'm not going to discuss, but anyhow, the threshold which we have already determined for a particular hydrologic variable can determine how reliable, resilient, and vulnerable our watershed system is. So here you will see that this is the framework and this is a flow chart based on which we have tried to assess the watershed health for a case study in Iran, not only in Iran, but also in other countries also that I discussed about, that in this case, 5 different steps were followed up. The first one, the model conceptualization was made. The second one, in fact, the criteria were selected, and the model was customized for the particular watershed that we are working on, that it has to be done for any watershed in the world whenever we are going to assess its health, and then indicators and also were calculated, and they they were then also standardized, and then finally the watershed health index was calculated. That here, the different stages of, in fact, it's better to say data purification, data validation, data generation, data preparation were done, that I'm not going again to discuss about. Here, we will see the same procedure was used for, in fact, assessment of watershed health of 3 watersheds, one in Ireland, one in Portugal, and one in Iran. And a comparative study was conducted, and then here you will see the results. These 2 watersheds with 3 specifications in 3 climate conditions were, in fact, selected for the study. And here you will see that the criteria that they were selected for the assessment of watershed health were a standard of precipitation index, low flow discharge, high flow discharge, suspended sediment concentration, total nitrogen, and total phosphorus. So you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables out of 6 criteria are totally hydrology related ones. So you can see that for that, in fact, employing the RRB framework, reliability, resilience, and also vulnerability were calculated for each of these criteria that I discussed about, and for these 3 watersheds. And finally, the health status was depicted in this figure. You can see here that the Pole watershed is, in fact, has an intermediate, or it's better to say moderate health situation. That here you will see that these are the standardized comprehensive watershed health index, that it varies from 0 to 1, and if you divide it by 0.2, in fact, steps, then you have 5 categories of health situation. That it is started by unhealthy, and then it goes for relatively unhealthy, and then moderately healthy, and then relatively healthy, and finally healthy situation. And so here you will see that for the watershed, the comprehensive health index, these are total nitrogen and total phosphorus criteria, because we would have, in fact, comparative study altogether in 3 watersheds, but not available for southern watershed. So then we did 2, in fact, type of assessment. The first one was based on all factors, and also the second one was only for, in fact, based on, watershed health assessment without TN and total phosphorus. Then here you will see that for the watershed, in fact, stands on moderately healthy situation, and Zarama also stands on moderately healthy situation. But you can see here the southern watershed stands on, in fact, unhealthy, or it's better to say relatively unhealthy situation. So here again, now you can simply understand that if we would like to improve the health situation of the southern watershed, or even those 2 watersheds, then you have to work on hydrologic aspects. So you have to change the number of the failures and the number of the satisfactory situation in this figure that I have shown to you here. You see here exactly how the satisfactories have to be manipulated by conducting some appropriate project and some appropriate measures, and then accordingly we would be able to change RRV, and then when we change RRV indices, then we would be able to change these values, and then if we change these values, then this picture also will be changed. Okay, so here I go to, in fact, another representation for, in fact, what is health assessment, that it is erosion-based one, and then here again you will see that phenomenon also is totally dependent on hydrologic behavior of the watershed. So here you will see that the same watershed that I have already discussed about, that it is Shazan watershed in Iran. We assess the health situation and health condition in four, in fact, the year 2008 and also 2014, and then you will see that how health situation varies from time to time, and also how spatial and temporal distribution of the health indices are getting changed in the study watershed. And here, again, you will see that the same study was conducted for the same watershed, that it was Shazan watershed, but based on STI index, that it was a climatic factor. And then again, in this case, we can understand that how our watershed health situation is getting influenced from STI index. And here, again, you will see that how Shazan watershed is in fact health situation on RRB in fact framework. Then here you will see not only the spatial distribution and spatial zonation of health situation is getting changed from time to time, but also the severity and also the classes of watershed health also changes from time to time. Here you will see that in three last year nodes, you don't have any relatively healthy situation, but you can see in the last year you have almost 7% of the area classified under relatively healthy situation. So the second approach that I'm going to talk, it is in fact PSR, that the same process that was followed up to conduct the PSR framework and to assess the watershed health. And then here again, I have tried to show you that how watershed health has in fact changes in the Shazan watershed. Exactly here you will see that it is the distribution of P index, and this is the in fact spatial distribution of state index, in fact temporal and also spatial variation of response index. So here, by using this figure and using this, maps, you are totally able to manage that how, in fact, your watershed goes on, in fact, the next step of health condition, whether does it go to the worse situation or it is going to the healthier situation. So here you can see in different years that I showed you 1986, 1998, 2008, and 2014. Then based on PSR approach, you can see again that the classification of health situation has got changed from the first year node up to the last one. And also here you can see the different colors representing healthy, relatively healthy, moderately healthy, relatively unhealthy. See that the red watershed representing unhealthy situation. So then here you will see that in the last year, even the spatial distribution of the unhealthy watershed has got changed. Here also we have tried to detect the changes occurred in watershed health indices, and then here you will see that fortunately, due to some changes and some, in fact, measures that have been conducted in the study watershed, the health situation has got a little bit improved. And here also the last approach, it is DOR, that it was, as you remember, rigor, organization, and resilience. And here again, we have tried to, that they are again mainly based on hydrologic aspects. And here you will see a slope of distance change, a slope of erosion change, a slope of NDVI change, drainage density, These are totally hydrology factors, and also runoff coefficient. Here again, you will see this one on uniformity, and here ratio of contributing area in runoff generation. These are again those factors that they are totally related to hydrologic aspects. And here again, we have tried to firstly show three, in fact, maps representing vigor. This one is organization, and this one is resilience for the study watershed, and this is the comprehensive map that it has been all aspects of these four indices were combined to each other using the geometric mean, and then we show that how healthy and unhealthy healthy and unhealthy some watershed have been distributed through the watershed. And another aspect that I'm going to talk is sustainability assessment, that it is somehow behind health situation, that it shows the long-term, in fact, health situation of a watershed. So when we are talking about the long-term, so we have to use some indices and some criteria which are in fact good demonstrators for in fact long-term behavior of the watershed. In this aspect, the DPSIRM model was employed. Here you will see that D stands for driving force, P stands for pressure, S stands for state, I stands for impact, R goes for response, and finally M goes for management. And here, I would like to show you that these factors are totally interrelated. And then here, I have tried to show you that how different, listen to me please, how different criteria of social, economic, environmental, and policy have been driving force, pressure, state, impact, and response, and also management indices. And here you can find out, for example, even these days, even we are discussing about social hydrology. So it means even in social aspect we have to consider some hydrology aspects. But here simply you will see that we have talked about drought, flood, water needs for crops, and here again soil erosion, groundwater loss, runoff, crop yield, and then here sedimentation. And so it shows that in each of these indices, some aspects of hydrology have been taken into account. So they directly or indirectly affected on, in fact, the magnitude of these indices, that they totally affected the sustainability situation of the watershed. Here you can see this is the driving force map. This is pressure index map. This is a state index map. This is impact index map, and this is response index map, and finally this is management index map. So we have 6 layers of maps with different types of classification that they were combined with each other, and finally this in fact sustainability index map of the shores and watershed has been obtained. So here again you will see that the sustainability has been classified into 5 categories, that it is started by this symbol from the most sustainable one, and it goes to in fact the blank one, that it shows the fully unsustainable one. So exactly, if you remember those health map that I showed to you earlier, you see that these are almost corresponding to each other. So it shows wherever our watershed is in fact getting unhealthier, so it goes to unsustainable, to more unsustainable situation as well in the near future. So we have to in fact look for a high level of health situation, that it ultimately leads to, in fact, more sustainability level as well. And here, again, see, I have tried to show you that map in colors form and also in English to let you know that how the sustainability level has got changed from 1986 to 2016, and in different aspects of social economy, we see that how policy factors affected on sustainability of the watershed. And here again, I have tried to show you that what is the general situation of sustainability of the watershed, that it is somehow in fact influenced by a hydrologic aspect. And here even we have tried to develop in fact a new barometer to assess sustainability shown here, and also the associated paper has been published in the Science of the Total Environment. And here, so now I'm going to present last 5 slides that also to go to draw my conclusion after a while. Here, I just would like to show you that how in fact hello Sergey, how in fact the hydrologic factors affect in fact the watershed health situation. And here we have selected a watershed in a dry region of central Iran that it is called the Pishku watershed in Yazd province. And here, see, we have tried to assess the Pishku watershed health situation in two ways. The first one, we tried to consider all hydrologic, climatic, and anthropogenic factors all together, and then we assess the watershed health index for the study watershed. And in another route, we just considered the hydrologic factors, and then again we evaluated the watershed health watershed health based on in fact hydrologic factor. And then here you will see that in each in fact index, that it was pressure, state, and response in health, in climatic, hydrologic, and also anthropogenic factors. We try to consider different variables and different factors from mean annual flow, flood volume, slope, and runoff coefficient, and even drainage system disruption, and even rock protrusion on area, or it is better to say bedrock region. And here, even in the case of a state, we try to consider just flood index, and in the case of response index, we consider stream density and also flow discharge, a special moment, and or it's better to say instantaneous flood discharge. And then under other factors also we have tried to consider these factors, and here you can see that we have mapped the health situation of the Pishku watershed, one based on in fact comprehensive indicators, that it is one that you can see here, and this one is just based on hydrologic aspects. So here you will see that how hydrologic aspects affected health situation of the study watershed. Here you can see that even the red parts, that they were classified as relatively healthy when we consider all factors together as relatively healthy. Now they are unhealthy. So it shows that our watershed, in the from the viewpoint of hydrologic aspect, is unhealthy in this watershed, but in other parts are healthy in the viewpoint of what hydrologic aspect. But here you will see that here even we have moderately that we have classified into positive and negative to show that how even moderate situation they are. And then here again you will see that if we would like to improve the health situation of the watershed, and if we would like to work on hydrologic aspect, so we have to consider these factors that I have already discussed about, and to know how these pressure, state, and response factors can be controlled and can be mitigated and can be handled to achieve in fact, healthier watershed. And here, even see, here in this table, we have tried to show you that how much is the contribution of hydrological factors to the watershed health. In this case, you will see that in the case of pressure, almost 36% of the contribution goes for hydrology aspects, and 20.20% of the contribution in estate index goes for hydrologic, while the response of the watershed to hydrologic aspects is not that much high. So it shows if you like to have a healthier watershed, so we have to work on factors which affect the pressure index of the watershed health indexes that I have discussed here. So we have to work on these factors. So anyhow, done for just to present in this presentation, and it is the last slide that I would like to draw my conclusion that watersheds are as unique as fingerprints, have different characteristics. Various factors play a role in the behavior of each watershed, among which the hydrology aspect is one of the most important ones. The watershed is a dynamic system and is different temporal and in fact spatial scale. Several factors play a role in the occurrence of the natural phenomenon, and comprehensive management can offer a solution for watershed problems when the issues and problems are examined with a comprehensive approach. And finally, all the evaluation criteria at the watershed level should be seen in the identification of the problem. Thank you very much for your nice attention, and it was the last slide that I have presented you. And my presentation took just 1 hour, and as I promised you people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Sadeghi. So it was exciting and very novel topic, which we thought that you are very big expert in this, and it's very good to have this on our lecture seminar. So it's quite late time for questions, but anyway, we usually have some short discussion at the end. So if you also still have time, and the question can be from my side is that if you can comment a little bit about the application for the in some management issues, some exact examples of the this watershed health assessment system, how this was adopted for the management purposes, some steps which were done from practitioners to the, let's say, future of the catchments based on the assessment you presented.
In fact, you know, Sergey, thank you very much for joining, in fact, the session and lecture. In fact, I would like to tell you exactly, I risen up 3 questions at the beginning of my presentation that in watershed health assessment, we are trying to look for the affecting factors and determinant factors on the performance and the performance of the watershed in providing different types of services. So if we assess the watershed health, based on which we would be able to find out the affecting factors on providing the watershed system, watershed services first, and secondly, we would be able to find out the contribution of those affecting factors in the output of the watershed. So if we know how much important our factors are, so they are either controllable or they are not controllable. Either they are anthropogenic one or they are natural one. So if they are natural ones, so they are natural and no need to work on. So let it be as such. But if they are controlled by the anthropogenic activities and they have been made due to human interferences, so the practitioners and also the manager and experts, they just can focus on those factors, and then they can prescribe appropriate prescription that how those particular variables have to be controlled. For example, if the peak flow is high, so we have to use such type of measures that they can reduce the peak flow. If the volume of the flood is important to us, so we have to go for reservoir. So we have to work on reservoir, and we have to work on those measures that they focus on the volume of the, and for example, flood, and so on. So I mean, by this way, we would be able to provide appropriate, in fact, measures to handle the issues with which we are dealing in the watershed.
Okay, so thank you again. And it's so then I think just also some very general question, if there is some other comments can come. Yes.
May I ask a question? Because dear Professor Sadeghi, maybe I misunderstood you a bit, but if this strategy was included into the on the government level, so did you present this methodology to the external stakeholders in Iran?
Yes. In fact, fortunately, I have to tell you one thing. I am working on this topic almost for 7 years, and during the first 3 years, I tried to give some lectures dealing with this topic for my PhD students. And fortunately, I did some. I worked on some projects in the same field, and the result of the project, they were dispatched to the governor, and they were dispatched and they were provided to the decision makers at national level. And they are working on right now, and even right now, in fact, prepared a proposal on this topic exactly in national level. And I would like to work on the national level to provide, in fact, watershed health atlas to show that how our main watersheds categorized in different levels of health situation, based on which the central government would be able to allocate appropriate investment and appropriate money to conduct appropriate projects in those prioritized areas, you know. So fortunately, we are in the proper way, and then we are going to give appropriate scientific perception to the government and to decision makers at national level.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think that's also important. I remember very well our discussion in 2018 in your lecture at Moscow, when this topic was discussed on the conference, WASFAC conference in 2018. And so this is quite nice field for developing the approaches for the catchment, which usually scientists do. And this it's like the next step forward toward the practitioners, when we, for example, build up the approaches on the catchment erosion, and then there is a step which really give a possibility to go forward. In this way, I see very well that the previous talks we have on our lecture were related to the more traditional way of catchment erosion, for example, studies. And so I'm very appreciate your lecture with this way forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, that's just a technical thing. We will keep the recorded versions of the lectures on the YouTube channel. So if this is okay with you, then we can.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you. Great. That also will bring more visibility for the.
Thank you very much.
Those, yeah. Okay, so I think we can then. Yeah. We can come to.
Now I think we can wrap up. Yeah.
So we can then come to conclusion, and we have these 6 days of the lectures, and it's actually 5 days with a break on Sunday. So it's 1-2 lectures per day. This is very nice days for the development of the ideas and sharing the ideas. We will then come back from the organizers with the greetings to all lecturers, with the certificates, and for all participants we will send also around the questionnaire, I guess later today or tomorrow, and we'll be happy to give the some feedbacks which we will announce on the website. Also, those participants who are interested can, upon request, get the certificates of attendance from there's two major respected associations, WASVAC and ICC, Commission of Hydrological Association. So we also greet the presidents of both associations who take our lecture series under their roof. And of course, personal thanks to the professors, to the lecturers, to Professor Sadeghi, and to all other lecturers who did their presentations during the last days. Yes, so it's like some concluding remarks for these few days of lectures. And yeah, then some greetings in the chat as well to our lecturers, and we will keep our contact open if some participants are interested in. And again, big thanks for the lecturers. We will then later come back to you. So,
thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Professor Sadeghi, for
thank
joining
you very
us.
much. I am also so thankful to you, Sergey and Anatoly. I am so sorry, in fact, due to delay that it made. In fact, I really could not get access to your email earlier because I was not in my office. I was even in southern part of Iran, and even I really reached my office with too much difficulties because there was a snow in the way, and then I tried to be on time, and then I have arranged everything to be at my own office as per the schedule that has already been adjusted for 4:30. But I'm so sorry I could not manage it. I'm so sorry. Again, thank you very much for a nice arrangement. I really enjoyed also your gathering, although it was virtual, but it have its own effectives. Thank you very much.
So thank you that instead of all the difficulties, you did it, and so it's not a problem to make some shift in time, and it's very good that we managed with this. So thanks that you anyway made a lecture after the trip. So I think you need a rest.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So then we finish the
thank you.
series. Thank you all, and goodbye. And we hope that we will proceed with collaboration and with the future contacts and meetings, not only online but offsite as well. Okay.
Thank you very much, and happy New Year in advance. Happy New Year in advance. Have a very nice, New Year vacation. Enjoy, and take care of yourself. Looking forward to meeting you very soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.